Hi, welcome to Lost and Confused, which is, I don't know, the first or the second or maybe the third Yogi and Reggie quest. It's kind of hard to tell. It's the one after you've gone to Shangri-La, anyway, and they've set up camp in a tent outside your house.
See? It worked! I could see through the walls. What? Bollocks to that, you just heard his footstep. No, I'm deaf in one ear, remember Sao Paulo?
Alright, the trombone player.
Yeah, the one-armed trombone player. But now that AJ's here, he can settle our little disagreement.
Indeed he can, but he's our guest, so let us be cordial.
This one's a lovely jubbly.
We call it Oculus Spliff.
Oculus Spliff. That you see through the walls of perception.
But you'll need a topper with that one, mate.
So, the Oculus Spliff, and they've drugged you again. Thanks, Yogi and Reggie. They're starting to annoy me now. I did like them, don't like them anymore. For whatever that's worth. You come around in this cave, and everything is this kind of colour palette is cycling through the rainbows. It starts off reddish and purpley. You cycle what you can see cycles through red, green, yellow. I've sped this up a little bit. There's bears in here, 3 I think, and you'll notice that it's like you've got a hunting syringe active the entire time, which is good. And in fact, doing this mission will unlock the hunting syringe duration skill, except that you also need to have done a story mission. I forget which one, Keys to the North or something like that, which I obviously haven't done yet. There's a note there. It was during the Great Drought that the monks at Chaljamal Monastery raised an orphan girl. Kind of irrelevant. There's also a note just where you get up from Reggie, or Yogi, I forget which one, explaining the Oculus Spliff and what's happened. And apparently they overdosed you. We'll get to it in a second. But you see, you get outside and the mission sort of triggers Lost and Confused. And you've had all your gear taken away. Fortunately, there's a body here with a bunch of ammo. I don't know why there's so much ammo, and a gun. So I went back in to kill the bears and just have a look around in the cave to make sure that I hadn't missed anything. So I'll speed this up. Maybe it's just 2 bears. A dude in a car rocks up as well, but I kind of headshotted him, so that's fine. There's one more bear up here. The sound of sped up magazines emptying pleases me. Anyway, yeah, we're right back where you start, up here. There we go, there's the note. Ajay, sorry about the surprise. Yogi was a little generous with the syringe, but we did need to transport you for the experiment. Don't try and fight it, you don't want a bad trip. The dose should last until you reach our location. Which I thought was a bit lame, to be honest. They could have written a backstory for that a little better. They could have said, you know, the dose was a bit strong, but don't worry, we've got an antidote when you make it to us. That would have explained it, lasting exactly the amount of time it takes for you to get to them. Better than just a MacGuffin like, it should last until you find us. It's just, yeah, poor. Anyway, I finished kind of knocking around in there, and I've sped up the travel bits. You keep all your syringes, and I think you keep your throwables as well, but I would need to double check. I didn't actually use any. And the long and the short of it is I should have jumped in that car. But you've basically got 4 or 5 checkpoints to go to. There's travel or transport at each one. There's a buzzer at one of them, like a little the gyrocopter. Watch out for getting run over on the roads. Those guys are just the worst drivers in the world. But heading up here, there are Yogi and Reggie standing there. Yogi, Reggie, is that you? No, apparently it's an exploding honey badger. I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. I think there must be some mines or something, because another explosion goes off in a second. There. So yeah, and I could have heard a beeping, so I kind of figured it was mines, but I didn't see any on the ground, so I don't know. There's a tuk-tuk there on the right that you can take. I took pretty much the longest route to get up here as I could. I was going for the hang glider and then realised that actually the place I was aiming for was almost a little above where I needed to be. So decided against it and just decided to run, but because of the way the contours work, there wasn't an easy way to get directly up the cliffs. Anyway, on the way there I found these guys, and I thought they were red because of the tint. It turns out they were civilians. Perhaps I should have looked a little harder. And I was kind of hoping that was a snow leopard against all odds, but it was not. It's just another clouded leopard. And I'm carrying so many leaves that my loot bag is almost full. It keeps telling me that at the moment I pick up. Or leaves? Yeah, green leaf and blue leaf and stuff. This one was interesting. You get here and some dudes turn into rhinos and some cars fall from the sky, because that's normal. Then some other guys turned up. You'll see a guy just down there to the bottom right. So I kind of focused on them. You'll see them noticing me in a second. I'm kind of oblivious to them at this point. There we go. Oh, just missed. Headshot. Ah, rhino, run away. And I like the way the wingsuit became an option there. It's interesting. Oh, there's nothing worse than running out of ammo. I need an extended magazine for the AK-47, please. Although I guess it wouldn't really help because you only ever use them when they're found and looted, and I don't think you get the attachments if you pick them up. Anyway, here's the buzzer, and that seemed like the most obvious thing. It would be awesome if your driving / flying abilities were also impaired, forcing you to run. Because now, I mean, it's my own fault, but the buzzer basically just trivialized this entirely, because it meant that I wasn't having to run through any of the bad guys. Anyway, down here is the next checkpoint, and this one's a little hairier. 2 bears and 3 or 4 men pop out as soon as you get on the ground. Like that. This thing actually crashed when I got to the final cave, which was super annoying, so I had to play through all this again. And I just rushed it, and actually approaching that on foot is a lot more sensible, because the guys will spawn and the bears will spawn and they'll fight each other, and you should just be left with 1 bear at the end instead of 2 trying to eat your face simultaneously like this. Just not a lot of fun, especially with an AK and very little else, and some rubbish aim from me. Please don't eat my face, Mr. Bear. What's interesting is those opportunities where you mash, you actually don't lose nearly as much health as just a general swipe from them, which I find intriguing. Like 1 swipe, 2 health, as you probably saw. I really need to start using the survival things. There's a propaganda poster and a karma bell there as well. Manny wheel. I need to start using the syringes, which reduce melee damage as well. That's going to be quite important. And I got a load of karma for that. I'm not quite sure how or why. But the Manny Bell seemed to give me a big old chunk. Anyway, in here is the cave.
Unfortunately, I do.
Oh, God! Ow, how did it... Oh, God, it's worse than I remember.
Right, we're only 30 seconds in. It gets much worse.
Oh! I see my little concoction worked out for you.
Our concoction?
Ours, right.
You drugged me.
We offered, you accepted.
Right, you still have all your bits and bobs. No harm, no foul.
Besides, now you have the recipe.
Right, and you can glean the benefits of its effects anytime you want.
Like a superpower.
Exactly. And there's plenty more where that came from. You just come on back to us the next time you need a little kick, yeah? Until then, shall we?
And I tried to zoom in a little bit on the tablet that they threw to the side, but there wasn't really anything of note on the screen. It's just kind of a bit of a blur. It looks like it might be some sort of sacrifice or something, but it's really hard to tell. Anyway, this is what unlocks duration boosts for the hunting syringe, but as you can see, I still need to get 1 mission there, Truth and Justice. That's the one that you need to complete. There's also a lost letter in here, so I figured I would just leave it plain. That's not it, that's just a report. There's a chest, and then here you can climb up, and then there's a grapple point just above it. There. And if you head up that grapple point, you'll come to a chest right in front of you, and just to the right, through a little passage that you've got to duck through, is the lost letter. There. So that is kind of that. That is Yogi and Reggie's mission. On the left is Shangri-La Part 2. Although probably I should put Shangri-La Part 1. I may change that before I render the video, we'll see. And on the right is the final outpost in the South Island. I thought I'd got them all, but I hadn't. There's a couple still locked, but presumably they'll come as part of the story mission. I forget the name, but I will obviously put it in the description. Actually, it's going to flash up now. Something Mana, Kita Mana, Keta Mana. Anyway, that's it for now. See you in the next one. Bye-bye!